Hey, greetings, salutations, Ben, Trev, and Randy here, y'all, everywhere, worldwide. We're global? Yeah, we are.
Global.
Well, people are on their YouTubes, we are. But welcome to Sunday Night Hang right here on Sunday. And, we're going to have fun. We got Randy Price returning. We're going to talk, about stuff. I don't do any prep work, so I don't know. We'll talk about stuff. And welcome all as you all file in. We'll get to roll call momentarily, just assembling a handheld forest fire here.
Yeah.
It happens. It's probably why I didn't freak out last week on a show. What? More on that later. No, we won't. That's an off-air thing. You want to find out about that? Click that join button to find out. That's all I'm saying on that one. Who do we got here for? Wow, 2 hours ago. Jack Collins. He says, I'll be there. Hope everyone's doing well. He's down in Louisiana. It's not winter down there anymore. Zach Thong. Good to see Zach. Rob Blackmore official, where it's still fully winter out on the East Coast.
No.
Steve Reeser. Steve's here. JP Page 2 with his fresh haircut. Knew the guy for years. Never got a haircut once. Now he gets them all the time. I don't know how I feel with that. Just saying.
Retired guy.
Dastardly Dave. He's here. He's not really that dastardly. He's definitely a Dave, though.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Baloney's here. Good to see William. Elbar J. He's alive and well. Good to see him. He's healing up and such. Who else we got? Y'all. We're all saying hey to each other and being. Oh, Michael Krause is here. And Hip Metalworks. Nice. They did not carpool because they're on opposite coasts. That's Massachusetts and no, that's no. Wayne McConnell's here. Mark Spurgeon. Offbeat Bass Gear. Dark Rob. He went to Guitar Center today to try a John Taylor signature bass. It was like 2,800 used.
Whose makes that? Fender?
Dingwall? Maybe? Oh. But it was made in China and used. It was almost $3,000 used. I was like, holy crap. How much were they new? And if you're paying that much to have it built in China for that price, if they built in America, it'd be a $25,000 bass, apparently.
Probably.
Which no Duran Duran fan is ever going to pay.
Yeah.
Just saying. Searching for Tones here, 8:01 p.m. That was a short search. Nice.
Brian.
It's right here. Papa Blue in the house. Eston Ray. See ya. Ferd Burfel, who was on with us last week. That was a bunch of fun. Munch Michelli's here. Jenny Ludes. Just kind of chilling in the background, doing stuff. Been there. Scrolling. Dingwall bass made in China and used almost $3,000. It is really overpriced. Yep. Guitar Man 45 is here.
Hey, Bo.
Yes. You can tell by the way that he is. He's Michael Krause says, I carpooled Friday night because beer. Sure. Also, what kind of brew pub closes at 9 p.m.?
True.
Shitty one? I'll say, I don't know. All right, yes. So if you have a question for any of us, you can use put some question marks out front. If you're a member, use the milestone option. Super chat, I won't complain. And of course, any virtual tips will be going to the Flying V Fund, which needs to be funded. Yeah, there we are.
I need guitar funds. Tell you what it ain't to buy a fucking $3,700 Chinese bass. I had to look that thing up to see what was so special about it. I'm not seeing it.
Right.
I mean, it's a
John
bass.
Landino's here. And Matt McCullum and Glenn Michael Thompson.
Right on.
Glenn Michael Thompson. Man, I can't talk.
Glenn Michael Tonsel.
Yep, him too. And Lee says, yes, this is fine fund. I think so too.
Worthy.
Because everybody should have a Flying V.
There's one on the wall over there.
Perfect.
It's not mine, but there's one on the wall over there.
Been there. Had one sitting on a stand for a number of months once. Wasn't mine.
Let's say, what's his face? Michael Ament from Arch Enemy, Dean Tyrant.
There we are.
You can't have a baseball bat neck, but the width with a Charvel width. I'm sorry.
No.
That neck is huge and is very uncomfortable.
Michael Chris says, what stupid pedal should I buy next? Talk box. Just because if you want to use it, you got to basically set up an entire PA system.
Right.
Or at
for
least
your living on a prayer cover.
Oh, you Joe Walsh and Peter Frampton. Ooh. Joe Alba's here.
What's up, Joe?
Yep.
He says, that guy's got mad chops. I agree.
They're
Thank you,
chops.
Jim, for the donation to the virtual tip jar. Appreciate it. Absolute mayhem in the house. Not that he's the guy that left a flying V here for months on end.
Right on.
You can go grab the new grab the new Shanker Flying V for however much money those are going for.
30 of them, and it's all like gnarled up. Like the guy went and wrecked it. You know, it's not even mint condition. Like you think for tens of thousands of dollars it'd be mint, but no. They're like, well, the original one's got all worming on it. I'm like, look, just because he wore a belt buckle in the 70s and 80s doesn't mean I need to have worming all over the back of my guitar.
Right. I did like how they used Kirk Hammett for the adverts for it.
Because Michael Schenker couldn't be bothered to show up for his own adverts.
Right.
Which then again, Kurt Hammett would be what? The other guy famous for playing a 70s Gibson V?
Yeah. I think his is what, a 78?
Yeah.
78, 79?
Yeah.
And he bought it because of Michael Schenker. It's the whole reason he wanted one. $17,000.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's 1 to 30, so there is that.
Jimmy Biter here. What's that?
What's up, Jimmy? Chump
What's up, Jimmy?
change for your local dentist. For those of y'all who don't believe dentists are state-sponsored terrorists.
Right. Yeah. Fun fact, they're actually federally sponsored terrorists.
Right.
Zach Thong says, you never know. Maybe Joe is one of the guys I watch closely when he's playing guitar. Maybe he is.
I know John watches him quite closely. I don't know if it's for the guitar playing or not, but I think John's got a little man crush on him.
I get it.
Cheers, brother.
Hey, Ryan. Great to see you.
What's up, boss man?
Enjoying the warmer weather. Since he's got toys that enjoy warmer weather.
Yeah.
Or at least a toy.
It's only like 20 degrees above average today.
It only snowed a little today. Then it turned into rain. It was early this morning.
I don't even know what it was today. I hadn't go outside today. I know it was about 8. It was like 82 yesterday.
You know, actually,
what that
Michael
is
Gross
in
brings up a
Tommy's
point. You know,
units.
love him or hate him, because Lenny Kravitz can be controversial. But when Lenny Kravitz hit the scene and was playing Vs, nobody else was really playing them of that age demographic type thing. You know, you had Schenker was still playing his, but you know, like I remember, I was like, "Whoa, a Gibson V with a fuzz box? Like, who's doing that at that time?" And really, not many.
Yeah,
What's up,
that's
Blue
true.
Mox?
Cheers, Blue.
Billy Balloon wants a
Skin
Lonnie
box.
Mac V because it has a Bigsby. Yeah. Okay. All right.
No Bigsby.
Over 90 in Texas. Oof, no thanks. I don't like 90 in July.
Okay, so it was 85. Ryan said it was 85 here today.
Nice.
That's
warm
comfy.
for March.
Right.
It's a little bit warm. We are covered in the old green pollen powder down here, though. Oh boy.
We're about a month away from that, I think. Then again, who knows if we get a good hot snap, stuff blooms and
Yep. Our cherry blossoms are blooming in.
this was the first year in decades, Trev, you had no snow.
Yeah.
Not that I saw a news report on it.
Yep. There was snow at John's house, but he's slightly
But not
higher.
in Vancouver proper, actually.
No. Yeah.
Glenn Michael Thompson had to shovel snow today. Huh. I just wait for it to melt. Hashtag asphalt driveway.
We don't have to worry about that. When it snows here, it's gone the next day. Most of the time.
Driveway was covered in snow yesterday morning, and then I just let it melt away, and then I went out for a pizza. Hey, it's Ben Tom. Member milestone.
What's up, Tommy?
Tommy.
My favorite thing about the spring is when... Jeez.
Sundress
Okay.
season.
Yeah.
Ben Tom playing the role of Boner Jams tonight.
That close enough. They could be twins.
Right.
You need their sound bite. They look like identical twins.
Wayne McConnell, put up the hammock today. Nice. What's up, Mark Taft? And Chris. What did I just walk into? Shenanigans and some tomfoolery.
Mm-hmm.
Things that we're good at.
Yep.
So,
Always watch and learn, Zach.
So $17,000 Shanker V or a $3,700 Chinese bass.
Nope.
We'll go with neither. Neither. No.
No. Mike, they did get a bunch of custom shop Gibbies in at the local Long McQuaid that I'm going to pop over there tomorrow or Tuesday, including a Firebird. I haven't played a Firebird in a minute. Last thing I need to do is fall in love with that, though.
How big are those Long and McQuaid stores? Are they pretty big or are they small?
They vary. Much like Guitar Centers, they vary.
Okay.
Some can be quite small. Usually a pretty decent size because they actually, more often than not, will buy the building that they're in.
Right.
So, like the one I go to, it used to be a bingo hall, and then they cut off like a third of the building to rent out to somebody else for another business. And it is a big store, though, especially for this area. Shocking. But store transfers and stuff like that.
It's like the Guitar Center that's closest to me is not the Atlanta Guitar Center, and it's a hole in the wall.
Right.
It actually used to be a Mars Music back in the 90s.
Okay.
And I guess Guitar Center moved into there when that store closed. And
It's the best thing you do because us musicians, we're not bright. You just change this. As long as you sell the same shit in the location, we don't look to sign out front.
yeah,
They
last
really
time,
did that with the record shop in the mall. It changed companies, but they just left it in the same location. I didn't even notice until they handed me the bag. I'm like, what's that logo? Oh. Didn't even faze me.
no, I'm not at Turtles anymore. FYE.
Right?
Yeah, that Guitar Center close to me it never has shit. But there's a music go round like 5 miles down, and there's probably 400 guitars in that place.
Oh, wow.
Most of them are not good, but every now and again they'll have a couple gems in there, and most of it's junk that they want too much money for.
Nelson, our local Guitar Center shares space with military recruiting office. Not sure what that says, but
My band didn't get
Darren?
signed. I'm going to join the Navy.
Darren Forbes in the house.
I know.
They keep it well lit, Chris, for the security cameras, basically.
Nice. Winter peg.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He traveled there, so I don't have to.
I miss the old mom and pop store that was here when I was a kid. They were like the only PV dealer in like 100 miles. So if you wanted a PV, you had to go there, and they had any PV amp, PA, whatever, they had it. They had all the jam up, the badass, like the PV Cirrus basses, and
Right.
always had plenty of Wolfgangs and Predators and
Mm-hmm.
Steve Cropper models.
Territories. Like if you had two music stores in town, they both couldn't be Fender dealers or PV.
Right.
dealers. You always got a X amount of miles within your store because the idea to, I guess, guaranteed sales or what have you. But
It was a
because I
good
remember
place.
that asking a manager of a store that I used to go to as a kid, I was like, "Why don't you have any of the good brands?" He's like, "We can't." The other storehouse, they had Fender and Gibson, basically. So they were Hondo and Profile mostly, and then they brought in Charvettes. I'm like, really? Not even a single Charvel?
Ugh. Yeah, that was awesome. You could go. That was one, back in the days where you could just go in there and didn't buy a single damn thing, but you hung out in there all day and they didn't care.
Yep. But equally they could give you attitude too. Like I remember reaching for a guitar. They're like, no. You only play the guitars on the bottom row, kid. Type thing. It's like, if you show us that you actually have some chops, we'll let you grab one of the nicer guitars.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's fair.
I remember, I think Mars Music was the only, they carried ESP and Guitar Center didn't. So if you ever want to try any of the ESP or LTD stuff out, you had to go to Mars.
Right.
And I remember going in Mars, and the guy let me play a KH2, a legit KH2, and I was like 13 or 14. He let me play it for about 5 minutes, and then he just kind of walked over. Was like, "All right, just kind of let me put this back up here on the top now."
Right.
I've heard creeping death enough. Basically.
Sup, Rock Daddy?
My lad, brother.
Was it today? It's the last day Steve's Music is open in Toronto, Trev.
Huh.
Which I can say because, like, my local dealer was a PV dealer, and country ruled in this area, so PV ruled in solid state. But I always want to try one of those Marshall amps I'd seen on TV and in music videos. And I went up to Steve's Music one day, and they had a bunch of them, Randy. And it was back when you had like a bunch of guys in their mid-20s that were gigging musicians that also worked there during the day. Now I'm just looking at it. He's like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "Yeah. I've never tried a Marshall before." He goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What kind of guitar do you play?" I said, "Well, I got a Strat." Said, "Go grab a Strat and we'll plug it in." Okay. But he made point. Let's put a stage volume. You're going to have your experience. He's like, "There you go. Hit a chord." And I hit that. I'm like, "Whoa, that's awesome." Pants shaking volume. And literally, it was like a few seconds. He's like, "Okay, we got to turn you down to at least, not annoy everybody." I'm like, I'm like, "Thanks for letting me do that." Everybody's got to play through a Marshall once loud.
Right.
Zach said, all of his high school time at Long McQuaid, Oshawa. Sure. Hell, when I worked for Napa, that's what I do for my lunch break. I just stop in the music store, just hang out there for half an hour.
I'm guilty of that. Go hang out with my local mom and pop just because the owner's cool. So
Exactly.
I'll go down there and, oh shit, I gotta get back to work. Just let me buy a pack of strings or something for hanging out for an hour.
Yeah, and they didn't mind because it was I'd always take my lunch later than others, so it's like mid-afternoon. Nobody's coming in at 2 p.m. for the most part, so
Right.
you get to see anything that was new that came in and stuff.
He doesn't sell, all his stuff is used, and he does consignment deals for people just because. Hello, Kitty Squire. Did you buy it? I remember asking him when I first started kind of going in there 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm like, "Why don't you have any like new shit?" He's like, "Well, because your big brands have made it impossible to be a dealer when you're a small dealer, because you have to buy X amount of dollars of inventory," and he's like, "They've made it stupid."
Yep, that's where buddy Mike is like, because he's got 3 locations now, because it got to the point where like your minimum order from Fender each spring is 30 guitars.
Right.
And you can only have so many at each price point. Like out of that 30, I think it was like 6 of them have to be US made or something like that. Plus the push out, because every time they launch a new line, you have to order X amount of each.
Right.
Which is not, it's usually 6 guitars, but hey, they put out a new Ultra Lux series at $2,500 a piece.
Yep.
Knowing nobody in this area is going to buy one. It's like, great. But it allows him to bring in a shit ton of classic vibe and sell them to the students and stuff. So it makes sense.
Well, he told me like all the kid students and stuff that come in there, he's like, they all play like Southern rock or what he calls trailer park metal, aka butt rock. So he's like, nobody that comes in here is interested in me having brand new Ultralux Strats on the wall,
No.
Les Pauls or whatever. They all want Schecters and.
And half the people that are interested in Ultralux, they already have an American build and they already play it. Like they're going to go in and try it just to compare it to what they already have at home.
Right.
And I remember talking to the local Fender dealer about that. Was, I said, "Oh, it's awesome. You got all these great guitars." He's like, "Yeah, I don't really sell any of them." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He says, "Take your dad." He goes, "I sell him an American Telly." Yeah. They're from the generation. They only own one guitar. He says, yeah, now he just comes in for strings and picks. That guitar won't wear out for 30 years.
Right.
He says, yeah, so I sell a bunch of guitars to people once. I was like, yeah. Now it's totally different. Everybody wants to have 30 guitars.
Right.
Oh,
Hey, Eddie.
what's up, Eddie?
Guilty.
Right. I want all the flavors.
I also color coordinate.
Nice. I used to have some form of semblance. Tellies and strats in the middle, single cuts to the right, and is it like super strat style? But that changed because now it's my Wolfgang and my Music Man are over there, so I don't know. Just where there's room. I might actually organize them again.
Well, everything over there is a strat-shaped object with a Floyd Rose. So,
well, at least you're consistent.
yeah, I mean, you like what you like.
That's right. Bo says, yesterday's band I had seen, everything on stage was fake. They used modelers. All the Marshall cabs were
Fake.
Just a big screen. Wow, not even fake cabs, but just a picture of a cab. Wow. Scott Collins is back.
Right on.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I've seen those where they do that with like combo amps and shit, where they basically make the front frame of a combo amp, and then it's like that wide.
Right. I was telling Matt McCullum, or I knew some guys, let's say they were a trio about 10, 15 years ago. They were one of the first to go like fully digital. But the drummer kept what appeared to be an acoustic kit, and he just installed electronic kit in it. And then the bass player and guitar player each had rack systems and wireless and everything, and they put a rack unit in the bass drum. So it was all hidden, and I was like, okay, because the bass drum's a fake bass drum anyways. So for load-in, that's what they did. And then the sound guys love them because they just showed up with two XLRs. Here's our left and right. It's already mixed, balanced, area. All you have to do is raise the mains. And sound guys like, yay! Like,
oh, fuck that. You got to make that guy work.
I always found rule number 1, walk up to the sound man, introduce yourself, hand him a joint. You're going to have good sound. And if he says, I don't do it, you say, give it to someone else. It's like, okay.
I like the latest clip our pal Hex Henderson posted on Instagram, where he's talking about dealing with sound guys. And he's got that old Dean Markley head, the 60-watt Dean Markley head.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got like the master volumes on like 3. He's like, now when you're dealing with the sound man, he's talking about you're ruining his mix and that you need to turn it down. He's like, you take the knob, he goes, and you turn it clockwise. And then he's gonna go, oh no, this the wrong way. Shut up. It keeps going clockwise. He's like, don't listen to that crap. They can
Whenever
mix
they
it loud.
say you're trying to mix, I always say, well, then take me out of the mix. I'm loud enough. I don't need to be through the PA.
Then they have a brain meltdown. I don't understand.
Yeah, look, I'm making your job easier by taking me out of your mix. Because I'm already loud enough to keep up with the drummer. And so I know I'm mixed with him.
They love it when you show up with a stereo rig.
Mm-hmm. I don't have enough mics and channels on my board for that. Well, that sounds like a you problem. Besides, you don't need to mic me because I'm stereo and loud as fuck. Everyone's going to hear me regardless.
Well, they go, well, it's the only the first 5 rows can hear the stereo anyway.
And they're the ones that pay top dollar to be there, so they should get
right. They got here early, and they like ran over grandma and shit and little kids
because they
down
love
here.
music and want to be there. Yeah.
Tom said when he was actually playing gigs, he gave him $5 in a joint.
Inflation. Now it's $20 in a joint.
Right. This is post-COVID, man. Everything's more expensive. I saw
Joe Alba does have good tone.
Yeah. It's fake though. It's a Axe Effects. It's fake tone. According to Bo. It's fake.
Fake. Although I will say for this platform, I get it. Like if you go whatever route you get to get a plausible tone, to be able to hang out and play with others, but it's got to be at least a plausible tone. Let's be honest. Like, we don't want anyone just showing up with, I'm running my Zoom Direct from 1996. No, don't.
No.
Or a Digitech RP360.
I mean, that's the 360 XP, by God.
With too much gain.
Yeah, I mean, dude, using this hot tone thing just for this is plenty great for me. But if I'm going to go play a gig, the 5152 and the Mesa 412 is getting pulled out, and then this will be used for, it's got MIDI, so I'll use it for channel switching and effects.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You will have a different setup for different types of gigs.
Yeah.
All depends on where I am, doing what. Like one of those silent stage worship gigs, first of all, they wouldn't hire me because they wouldn't. But I would have to figure out a different route than showing up with 2 tube amps. Like, can't I run them under the stage? They're like, no. What are you doing with that closet over there? We'll put them in the closet. You want to ISO cab the coat closet? I do.
What gets me now is like these little shithole bars with a 6-foot stage. Like they expect you to show up with modelers and in-ears.
Right?
It's like
which is actually more expensive than analog gear, often not, to have decent shit.
Yeah.
Because I won't run any wireless or in-ears that I can't switch channels on. So, like, I don't need to have feedback in my left ear every time someone runs a debit machine.
I mean, I'm wearing in-ears now, and for this, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not moving air in this room, you know. But I tried the whole in-ears thing back in like 2009, 10, and 3 to 4 songs in, it's that.
That's not a closet. That's the confessional. Sweet. Because they got the speaker and the receiver side, so you can run stereo and put an amp in each confessional spot. I'm pretty sure that's sacrilegious, but I'd totally do it. We know. I know.
Well, at least Tommy admits that digital and analog can coexist together.
They can.
I've been doing it since the 80s with Rat Gear.
Right. Or I'm just thinking, like, how many guys I know that run like an Axe Effects, but then they have backline provided, and it's a tube amp. So you're going to run your model into a tube amp anyway, so it's going to probably sound better, I would imagine.
Yep. Oh, that's Ryan said he had one guy that mic'd all 3 of his cabinets. And they pulled all the crowd. I'd say he's at the Masquerade, obviously. They ended up pulling all the crowd, I guess, that was in heaven, which was used to be upstairs, down to hell, where I guess he was playing. I know what sound guy you had there that actually took the time to mic all 3 cabinets. That was the good sound guy. That dude was cool. He wasn't the one that showed up and was like, well, how many mics do you need? Man, he wasn't the guy that bitched about everything. It was the same guy. The first time I ever played there, I was running a triple rectifier, good old solo head, 150 watts.
Nice.
And we go up there to do sound check, and that sound guy comes out from the behind the sound desk and walks up the stairs on the side of the stage, and he's kind of like, play. And I'm just kind of playing. He's like, play some chugs. So I play some chugs. And he's over there, like, dialing my amp. And he's like, all right, now play some solos. And he's like, switch to channel 3 for your lead or whatever. And he's, like, sitting there just re-EQing my amp on the stage. And he's like, all right, you're good. And I'm like, it sounds like shit up here. He's like, it sounds fucking awesome out there. I'm like, no way. So I jump off the stage with my like 50-foot cable, and I stand back at the front of the soundboard and I'm playing. I'm like, holy shit, it does sound awesome out here. Maybe this guy does know what he's doing.
Right?
What do I know? He's only ran sound there for 20-something years.
Right. It's like, wow, you made me sit in the mix better and yet project more somehow. Yeah.
He remember him going, here's the thing, kid. That knob that says mid is important. He's like, especially playing these shitty ass rectifier amps, man. You got too much bass as is. He goes, when you turn your mids up, you got to cut the highs back a little bit, keep it from getting muddy. But you You got to turn all this bass and shit out of your sound. You got a bass player over there. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't, you leave there and you go to band practice and you put your shit right back where it was.
Of course.
So
Joe Alba says, I love to have great models of amps that I'd never be able to own. Sure, I get that. Keep in my house. But my Dirty Shirley, nice, and a PT-15 in my comfy zone, especially with the gain staging live. I fucking bet. Nice. No problem with that. That's okay, Joe. I enjoyed reading that anyways.
yeah, that was pertinent to the conversation, Joe.
Yep. Yeah, like here, he says, my Fractal Dirty Shirley sounds and feels very similar to my real life amp and doesn't change character after an hour so loud playing like the tube amp does, sure, because it can get a little tired. And that's why we have set breaks.
Yep.
To let your amps rest. I still want to gig tubes, of course. We all want to.
I think a lot of things that people don't do, the main thing that people don't do that gig with modelers is they don't go in the global EQ and put their high and low cut in.
Right.
You've got to put a high cut in there like 5,500, at least 6K, and it gets rid of that weird trebly sizzle that modelers have.
Sub 4. A lot of gray beards tonight, me included. Yeah, it's a thing.
I shouldn't have gray beard. I'm not old enough.
I could see it. I don't think I run too much bass. No, actually, on that one, opposite. I'm running mids and treble are only up about a third, and bass is up 2/3. It's actually the opposite.
If I'm not mistaken, Boot jumps. He does the jumper thing on Plexis too.
What's up, Terry?
I think every time I've seen, especially his early, or in the garage videos, he always had a Plexi behind him, and it was jumped. Boot can do that. He loves that Boss GE7.
Right. A modded one.
Yes, I think it's an analog, man, isn't it?
XTS.
Okay.
Yeah. XTC, XTS. One or the other.
One of them.
Yeah. Just to make it quieter, because I guess they're kind of noisy. The comp helps a lot. I only just started using one in the last couple of years. Mildly at that. But it was also a diamond compressor. So.
Oh, look, Terry said I was right. He just did that on his Katana. Notice the better clarity on it now. Yeah. I put on the global EQ, I've got a low cut at 100 hertz and the high cuts at, I think it's got it set at 5,500.
Nice.
And then I usually put like a 80 hertz on the IR, and I think I do the IR high cut at 6,000.
Michael B just picked up a 100 watt DSL last week.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy uses 4 graphic EQs. Okay,
that
easy
he
there.
does. Don't ask Jimmy. Well, is John here? If John's here, you can't ask Jimmy about a rig rundown.
First question I had for Jimmy when he's on.
He got about 3/4 of the way through it before he got pissed off and left.
4. Done gray since I was 16, so fuck me, and never been carded ever. Exactly. The shitty news is you're gray as a teenager. The good news is you can buy all the booze you want.
I didn't start till I was about 30.
Same. I used to dye it when I was in the metal band because we're still trying to get signed.
I've got a little gray here. Not much. And the rest of my hair is still dark brown. So what... this is my bad job choices and women and bad choices of women and that's
lifestyle choices.
Yeah, that's what did that.
Yeah, I knew guys that were going bald in high school. I felt so bad, especially the rocker guys. Because they're trying to grow their hair out long, and it's already fallen out. It's like, damn. Embrace the inner wizard. That's it. Right. Yeah, well, as soon as I break 200 pounds, this is getting fucking trimmed.
Yeah, I had to cut mine the other week. It's like, need to see how much thinner my face is now. So I had to cut the fluff out of mine.
Mm-hmm.
When your mustache starts curling up into your nose,
yeah,
you got to do something about that.
It's just a phase. If you leave it long enough, it gets past that, and then it's smooth.
What's up, bad?
Hey, Joe.
Bo's gonna be a grandfather again. Congrats, Bo.
There you go.
Nice, man. Billy Maloney's getting depressed. About what? Grandkids or gray hair?
Well, hair. He sent me a bunch of photos last week of him with hair to prove that he used to have hair. It's like, fair enough.
Did you know that I used to own a Gresh?
That's what I was going to ask you about. Do tell.
I did. I used to own a Gresh. Yeah. And when I tell you what it was, you're going to go, get the fuck off my show. I was gifted a 1955 Country Club in Cadillac Green.
Oh.
Along with a 1957 Fender Pro tweed amp. Oh. Still had the original 15-inch Jensen speaker in it.
Of course.
By my 80-some-odd-year-old, I guess he'd be my great-uncle. A couple years before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold the shit out of them things. I sold that amp for $1,000.
Ooh. Now, when are we talking here, too?
I sold the guitar like years before I sold the amp.
Okay.
I sold the amp probably in 2010, maybe.
Okay.
I sold the guitar in 2008, I think. 7, 8, something like that.
Okay. Before they made a huge resurgence, they were being out there, but limited quantities out of Japan. So the old market would be higher in some respect. Yeah. That's fine. I understand.
I still regret selling. I regret selling the guitar. Now, I didn't give a shit then. I was like 20 years old.
Right.
What the fuck am I going to do with this?
Yeah, I don't want this jazz box. I want a rock. What's up, Richard?
Thing is now, I mean, if I still had it, it'd probably be worth at least double what I sold it for.
Sure.
I don't really know what the value. I haven't looked. But it was, I had it appraised by the guy that used to own the original owner of Atlanta Vintage Guitars before he died. I had it appraised, and he appraised it at like 7 out of 10 in condition. So he said it was worth about $4,000, which is what I sold it for back then. I don't know what they go for now.
Well, probably triple that. But again, supply and demand, and who's to say it doesn't fold in half during that time too? Because like old acoustics, because they are a hollow body guitar, and they can just, or going to need a neck reset at the very least, or something like that, you know? Yeah.
So when the dude looked at it and appraised it, he went through it. He made sure the truss rod worked, and he basically set it up. He's like, it's got typical Greshitis with the jack, where you need to bend your fucking end of your cable to get it to make contact. And it had a little corrosion on the the original pick guard, because I'm sure it was made out of some kind of degrading plastic back then.
Big light.
Yep.
And the biggest problem is the materials they use for binding, because the binding would just rot off.
That was one thing that guitar did not have a problem with, was binding. The binding was still in good shape, but the pick guard had a little rot on it. But it's set up once. He's like, because I was sitting there like, man, this thing needs a jack. I'm sitting there wiggling the cable around trying to get to work to play it, and he's like, oh no, I got the right cable. Here you go. It's bent. All these old Gretches do this. And then he plays it, and it sounds phenomenal.
Right.
And then I sold it to a guy in somewhere in Michigan. And he fucking emails me like 2 days after he gets it, and he wants half of his money back. And I'm like, what do you mean you want half your money back? He's like, well, I tried to set it up and the truss rod's frozen and this, that, and the other. And I took it to such and such luthier and he blew compressed air down in the truss rod. He took the truss rod cover off and blew compressed air down in there and sprayed some lubricant in there to try and free the truss rod up. And I'm like, the truss rod works.
And you never spray lubricant down a truss rod cavity.
So I basically told him to fuck off, and he opens a claim up because it's eBay. Yeah. He opens a claim up with eBay, and so I get, I go through that whole deal for like a month. And I finally got a hold of an actual person with eBay. I was like, here's the deal. Here's all the emails he sent me where he's already opened this thing up and fucked with it. That right there voids his return right there. Mm-hmm. Not to mention I sold it with, no returns as is. I mean, he got all the paperwork from Atlanta Vintage where it was it was inspected and appraised and all that shit. It's just like, I think this dude, he kind of divulged to me that he was a massive Gretsch collector and his wife was getting irritated with him. So I think she found out about that when he tried to get half his money back.
Yeah.
That's what I really think happened.
That's, Joe McGraw. Yeah, the compressed air ain't going to do much anyways. Right. That's going to hit the washer at the top, at the end of the truss rod. Yeah, some people though. What are you going to do?
Jenny Lou's just bought a Gretsch somewhere between here and there with Fed Up. Should be fun if it arrives. Yeah, I've got a Schaller order that's sitting with Fed Up right now in Memphis for the last 4 days. Was supposed to have been delivered Wednesday or Thursday.
Trying to get Trev to get a Gretsch, but it won't happen.
You don't need one, Trev. Judas Priest never used a Gretsch.
No, yeah. The closest thing you can maybe the Malcolm Young.
No, I was going to say, no, I played Judas Priest on a Gretsch, and, I'm just saying, I've done things that KK hasn't done in life. I've also played Panama on a fucking Gretsch. But see, Eddie Van Halen didn't do that. Greatest goat ever. And see him play with a Bigsby. Of course. Right. He'd have a vintage one. He'd dive bomb the Bigsby, and the bridge would literally slide out from under the strings.
Well, you're talking about the same guy that did saw the lower horn off a SG Junior to play a slide guitar part. So
yeah. Supposed to arrive today. Now showing Tuesday. I'll hold my breath.
Is it at FedEx Hub in Memphis? Because that's where my shit's at.
East Rains Road in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right across the street from Graceland.
Yeah. Also, when I worked for Fujitsu Computers, our return center was right across from FedEx on East Rains Road. That's how I know. They're like, we can see the airstrip from our office windows. Great.
Awesome. It's kind of funny if you ever look at Graceland on like Google Maps or Google Earth or whatever. There's the house and the property and the big Elvis attraction stuff that they've built, the hotel and all that across the street, and then directly across the street from Elvis's jet is the big FedEx hub. Kind of weird how that's all laid out there.
Right. Joe Alba says, I'll only insist that every guitarist try a Telly. Trev, I think each should own one, but at least try one.
Trev tried one.
I did. I rented one for a week. Plus, I played John Deschaines when he had that Fender American whatever. Telly.
Yeah, that didn't last long. He got rid of that thing fairly quick.
Well, that's kind of cool, John. He either bonds with something or it's gone immediately.
Tried it, didn't like it.
He doesn't allow for a long honeymoon period, is what I'm saying.
No.
If it's not love at first sight, he's out. He moves on. He's like speed dating.
It doesn't say sir on the headstock. Well, he's digging that Yamaha. We'll see how long that thing lasts.
Pete trolled me today. He unboxed his new Sir signature today. Mint green, or not mint green, cactus green, but it has dual humbucker zebra pickups.
Yeah.
So I put nice guitar, not a fan of zebra pickups. He's like, well, it's not my fault you're wrong. I was like, damn. He's like, oh, put hammers and this and that. I'm like, well, that's fine, but I prefer pickup covers on my pickups. Or double cream or double black.
I got to agree with Pete there. I actually like his new signature model, but, I mean, let's look what it harkens back to, the old pre-pro Charvels. Cream rings and zebra pickups.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're showing. Charvels, Hamers today, other stuff. Even shades of a Dean Cadillac with the binding and stuff. It's like, okay. Just happens to be a Strat style shape.
Jimmy and I were talking about Deans last night, and I've never played a Dean that I liked.
Same. No. I did play a Dean Razorback hardtail once. I didn't, because hanging on me, it just felt like a Les Paul. Because, like, centered wise, the bridge was in the same spot. A Les Paul would hang on me.
Right.
And it felt the exact same as playing a Les Paul. At least standing up. Sitting down, forget it, because totally different shape. But
does it have the same goofy V-neck that the Dimebag MLs have? I've never played a Razorback.
I don't remember that because it was a while back.
Because I've played the MLs, I've played the Dimebag MLs. They've both got V-necks. I've played a couple of Cadillacs. I didn't like those.
I do like V-necks.
Somewhere around like 2009, 2010, they had the black gold Z,
right?
Which I thought looked cool. And then I played one, and it's got a V-neck, and I'm like, I'm out.
What's up, dude?
Way up.
What's up, way up, dude?
Bo wants a Dean V. I do kind of like the Dean Vs because you got the V in the headstock and the V in the body, too. So it's like a double V. Upper and lower case.
Well, as long as they don't have the same neck that this one over here on the wall's got, I mean, you're probably better off.
The only Dean V I played was Mayhem has a Dave Mustang signature V, but it's like the low end bolt on neck.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just felt like it felt very much like an Ibanez neck. It was just that generic, large radius, flat neck. I get it, but.
I was shocked when my buddy unboxed that Tyrant V because I was thinking, it's going to have a wide, thin neck.
What's up, Rick?
What's his face? Michael Ament, he shreds. And then he pulls that thing out of the box and it's a fucking baseball bat with like a 1 3/4 nut width. It's like, what the hell is this?
Here's in the non-breaking news: 7-string ML with a Kaler. It took a long time to sell. No shit.
Was that the one with the fan frets that they did? Right? I seem to remember that. They did a ML 7-string with fan frets and a Kaler.
Crazy.
Whatever you got to do to make Rexy Labs happy.
That's right. Bo's got to pick up his Gibson V.
Did Bo buy the Michael Schenker Gibson V?
No. I think he bought one. Might be a natural like mine. So he bought one basically the same time as me, and then he was supposed to pick it up the same time as me, but that didn't happen. They do offer a few with fan frets, Michael Cross, for some reason.
Because that's what's popular.
Yeah.
With all the gent kids.
Like, is gent even still a thing at this point? I was hoping it died a painful death a decade ago.
I mean, Matt would know. He
would.
I don't like the V-necks. That's what I didn't like about the Lukather Ernie balls is the V-neck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you talk about the Fender V-neck, what they call it, the was it the 57 Strats got the
right.
The
it's
V-neck.
A hard V. It's a pretty hard V. It's noticeable.
The 57s custom shops that I've played, they're not a hard V. They're almost more like a U to D shape instead of a V.
Right, and they just move a bit of the shoulders out of the way, basically.
Yeah, it's like a worn out V or something, so it's a little more rounded. Those are
played
really
a
comfortable.
57 or 58 Telly that had a pretty hard V neck, which I liked because it reminded me of my old Martin.
Yeah.
Because it was that much of a V neck, which if if you played older Martins, folks, they definitely have a V-neck to the point where you can't even use certain capos because there's not enough purchase where the capo wants to sit.
It's like the Clapton Strats. They're too hard of a V for me.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's funny that Music Man says that Lukather profile is a soft V. No, that's a pretty damn hard V. Which up here playing cowboy chords is fine because the neck's super narrow on those things. Yeah. But that's why I don't own any Ernie Ball Music Man guitars.
Okay, nobody is skinnier than Bent Tom. First of all, Tom.
I'm not skinnier than you, Tom. I'm still 220 pounds, bro. I'm not 317 anymore. I'm 220.
Right. Which is awesome. Natural 2016. His 4 guitars waiting to be picked up. Your soon ex-wife. Ooh, things are moving along on that front, too. It's like, yeah, you might not want to pick them up until things are signed and then bring them home as assets.
Right.
So I would personally hide that.
Put all of your guitars in an irrevocable trust.
Yep.
In somebody else's name.
Joe Alba says, if every one of my guitars could have the same neck profile on my 99 Axis, I'd be a very happy player. It is, yeah, the asymmetrical neck.
Broom handle.
I enjoy it.
That's the other guitar I get called stupid for selling. I had a '94 EVH Music Man in trans black. I kept that thing like a year, and I was like, I don't play this thing. The neck's too small.
I was gonna say, if you got fair market value for it, then I don't fault you for it because I know those have always carried a premium to the right people, especially to the right people. Right? It's like one of those.
I doubled my money on that.
Well, then
I bought it pre EVH death for $3,400, and I sold it for $67. So,
yeah, I remember just around the time he passed, I was considering getting rid of my Wolfgang hardtail, and then immediately, like the value went through the roof, and I'm just like, no, because I don't want to be that guy that capitalizes on his death. But then I thought if I sold it for fair market value, someone's just going to buy it off me and then double their money. So I just kept it.
I had the Tobacco Burst Japanese, the 2010 Japanese special.
That's what I have.
And I doubled my money on that. I paid $700 for that guitar, and I sold it for $14.
It looked like this.
It looked like that, but mine had a Floyd Rose.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many of these they made because they only made those Japan guitars for 2 years. And like seriously, how many are going to have a Floyd Rose versus a hardtail? Like I think maybe 2 or 3% of them had hardtails.
Well, they continued with the hardtails with the whatever the fuck that bridge is called with the fine tuners on it.
Right.
They continued those in China for 2012.
Yes.
But Chusengaki was the factory in Japan that was making those. I've heard very conflicting reports of what happened with that they went under. Then there was the whole tsunami thing, and
my understanding was they were sent this like some surplus stuff similar to Music Man when they're first doing the Access, but it was one of those they built it to a certain quality that there was no money to be made off them based off the map that they had out on them.
Yeah, dude.
So that's why they discontinue after 2 years. They're like, we'll do the commitment because whatever 1,000, 2,000 guitars they ordered from Japan. But even then, I'm thinking, not many could have been hardtails.
Probably not. I mean, the only reason it's got that stop tail piece on it is because they didn't want to make a neck without a Floyd nut on it.
I called out, I'm not going to say which community that was, but let's say a certain striped-based channel that we're all aware of. And they're like, no, it's got a locking nut because Eddie preferred to have a locking nut on his guitar, blah, 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 blah. Like some bullshit. I said, no. It's because Fender wasn't going to pay the money to have you reprogram the CNC machine for a standard nut for a handful of guitars. Again, if they're doing 50-50, you would never see this and the locking nut because they would program the machine accordingly. but they're not going to retool for just a handful of guitars.
No. That's exactly why they did it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cheap. Well, cost effective. Whatever you want to call it.
It's
they'd
funny.
be losing money if they had to reprogram the machine to sell
Yeah.
them or cheaper price point.
So they made 2010 and 2011 in Japan, and then 2012 they introduced the black cherry finish, and then made the rest of them in China for 1 year. And every one of the Ryan's got a 2012 Chinese tobacco burst, and it was every bit as good as the Japanese one I had.
Right.
And then they go, we're still not making money on these. Let's move it to Mexico and drop the price to $1,000.
Yep. And then they only just brought back the hardtail last year with the Tunematic. They called the TOM.
Standard series. Are they doing the specials with the Tunematic now too?
That I don't know.
I know they were doing.
I just remember because
I
remember the guy who sold that guitar to me wanted it back because he was looking everywhere for a Wolfgang with hardtail, and he was having a really hard time locating one. And his local music store said, "Oh, well, just buy a regular one, and we'll convert it to a hardtail for you." Yeah, I bet you will.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
R2's got one.
He does. He's got a white one.
Nice.
He's got a black cherry one too, but I think his black cherry one's a USA, but it's a Floyd. It's like Jimmy and I were talking about cheap guitars last night. You want to talk about a cheap guitar that knocks it out of the fucking park is
what?
This thing I picked up it's a Strat-shaped object with a Floyd Rose. This all black, so you can't see it. I picked this up right before Christmas, and it's a first year LTD M2.
Ah, okay. I was wondering.
And I paid $500 for this thing.
Okay, more than fair.
One of the previous owners, they took the ESP pickups out and they put a JB and a little 59 in it. I swapped the little 59 for an Air Norton S.
Sure.
And it didn't have the Takeuchi Floyd. It had the Schaller ESP branded Schaller.
So right,
which I swapped out for a black OFR, and I had to get the shorter locking screws back there from Schaller to fit the route.
Right.
But this fucking guitar is 30-something years old. It's loud as shit unplugged. It's loud as shit plugged in. The neck on it's great, and it's rock solid.
Now, is that ebony or super dark?
It's dark rosewood.
Which you're not getting anywhere anymore for under, I'm going to say, thousands to get a rosewood fretboard that looks like that. That's not, I don't know.
But these,
here we go.
I feel like these guitars, I mean, it's rosewood. There you go. You can kind of see it's not. But the thing about these guitars that are slept on is these. I think it was like the first year and a half of LTD was made in Japan,
right?
Not Korea,
right?
There's no Korean branding on this guitar. From what I've always heard and read and whatnot, is the early LTDs with the serial number stamped on the bottom of the fretboard were made in Japan. And this guitar feels and sounds and plays like a made in Japan.
Well, yeah,
guitar.
because my understanding, it was sort of like Martin with the Sigma brand, in a sense, like they wanted to be in-house, a secondary model, like Squire, but it was only supposed to be like, here's our whole line. It's not two separate companies. It's just you're going to see a logo change at some price point, essentially.
Right.
And then shortly after, they did offshore to Korea, which, again, so what? So now they're being built where the majority of the Ibanez stuff was being built, which is still quality, like world music stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, this thing, I think LTD made its official debut at 96 NAMM. But they started these in late 94. So you've got about a year and a half time frame of them where they were made in Japan. And I mean, dude, this thing is best $500 guitar I've ever bought.
All right, same people / junior builders you're building to the same spec. They're just going to have slightly cheaper wood or something like that. And even then, by today's standards of cheap wood is not the same as cheap wood 20, 30 years ago.
Correct.
It's cheaper wood. Not cheap wood, but cheaper wood. Because the cheap wood was still made in like the Hondos and the plywood guitars.
It's funny, Tom says KH2 Kirk Hammett vibe until you see that the neck pickup is a slanted single.
Right. Which
reminds
me of somebody else.
If you watch the Metallica Cunning Stunts live show, when he does his thing at the end where the stage crashes and all that, and he plays the guitar, he smashes. It's an LTD M2. He had a stockpile of these things.
Right. Much like Paul Stanley using the low-end Gibbies back in the day to smash on stage.
Hammett was using Ibanez like RG 560s and RG 550s.
And RG once they were starting to get tight with ESP/LTD. Here, we've got which is bonus. One, you get the guitar itself out in front of a live crowd to see it and hear it.
Yep.
And then, but it's also essentially disposable as well.
Yep. He in that auction he did with Julian's a couple months ago, he auctioned off those Ibanez's that he was using on the Black Album tour to drag across the stairs of the stage and all that shit. And almost every one of them had his name on, like they were built for him at the LA Custom Shop. And he fucking just thrashed them.
Right.
And then he had several of these M2s. The one with the slanted single, which would be the deluxe, and then the regular M2, which was just a double humbucker that he auctioned off.
To answer Zach, yes, I mentioned that earlier, Zach, about at the bottom. I'm talking about that's where I played my first Marshall.
Usually cheap electronics. Yeah, right. So whoever put the Duncans in this, all the electronics have been swapped. It's got Mojo Tone pot, Mojo Tone 3-way switch, all the wiring, the output jack, it's all Mojo Tone.
Which is someone else who saw the same thing. It's like buying my Kramer Focus from the 80s. I know it's an ESP with a different logo on it.
Right.
Whoop-de-fucking-do. And then whoever had it before that put a JB in the bridge. All right, because that's the one upgrade you would need to do, if any.
Yep.
And then boom, it's got a German Floyd. It's an ESP. Yeah.
When I found that back in December, I was looking for an actual ESP from the 90s M2 with that same layout.
I get it. Yeah.
And I was looking at there were two of them on Reverb I was looking at. One was like $1,900 and the other was like $2,100. And then
fair.
Right. And I scroll down to the bottom of the page and there it is, the late 94, early 95. I'm like, it's the same fucking guitar. The only difference is if you look at the neck pickup on this, how far back it is off the fretboard.
Right.
It's like it had a 27 fret neck like the Mavericks and the 901s did.
Right.
Whereas the ESP version of this, that neck pickup, it's slanted, but it's butted right up against the board.
Gotcha.
So when I put this Air Norton in, I'm sitting here thinking, well, basically it's a middle pickup where it's sitting. So I need something that's got bass for that neck pickup sound. And I said, well, shit, I'll put an Air Norton S in it and see how it does. And if it doesn't, Comparison makes a rail, single coil rail humbucker specifically for their 27 fret guitars.
Which would be perfect. Yeah.
It's wound to sound like a neck pickup on a 22 fret guitar.
Right.
But I put the Air Norton S in it the other week and it's perfect. So
awesome.
Good to roll.
And let's be honest, like if you can find any quality 90s guitar these days for under $2,000, hell, really in today's world pushing $3,000 because we're talking 30-year-old guitars. Yeah. These are vintage guitars at this point. Yeah. And 30-year-old made in Japan, as far as I'm concerned, has just as good a credence as any made in the U.S. stuff out of the same time period and go back another 20 years. Because let's be honest, the 70s were a dark time for American-made guitars, and the 80s, for the first half, was retooling. So by the end of the 80s, they're actually making quality shit again.
Right.
So there's that. And then Japan ruled the world at that time because
yeah, you were better off buying a Tokai Strat in 1979 than you were a Fender.
Right.
And then ESP was making shit for everybody.
Yeah, like King's of Ghost Building. And again, and they were like similar to like the way the Chinese builders that have been doing it for decades now is like, I want you to build me a guitar. And they're like, okay, do you want a $50 guitar, a $500 guitar, a $5,000? We have the ability to make whatever you want at whatever price point. It's just, what do you want to put into it? So we did have a lot of, like Kramer said, hey, build some shit over there for our import line and literally send us the same parts here. We'll assemble in the US to put a premium on the price. Yeah. Okay.
I've been interested at some of those AliExpress guitars, just kind of looking at some of them, and because you get some guys, it's like, man, this thing is, they'll do videos on them. It's like, look how this thing is built. It's amazing. And then you get the other ones like, oh, it's like plastic and plywood and balsa wood fretboard.
Right. That's like my Gibson Les Paul I had was, I don't know how old it is now. It's getting close to 20 years old. And at that time, it was literally, they were taking factory seconds at the Epiphone factory after hours and then just cutting the headstock different. And then selling them at the back door because they were factory flaws and defects. And then,
right.
It's like, okay. So, and then you're into a guitar for $300. And hell, when I pulled the pickups out of it because they were completely microphonic because they weren't wax potted, but they were Epiphone branded pickups in the guitar. That was the hilarious. I'm like, well, that confirms every rumor that they were built after hours at the Epiphone plant.
Yep.
And then after that, the Epiphone plant became owned by Epiphone and no longer a subcontracted company. And then, all of a sudden, the Gibson's quality went down. I wonder why. Because not literally using their shit.
Right. Tom said the ESP custom shop is every bit as good as Tyler, Tom Anderson, Sir, and all those guys, maybe better. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what's cool. Is like if I ever went to Tokyo, I'd have to go with money. Because I would go straight into the ESP workshop and spec out a guitar and have it built.
Well, not to mention if we actually go to like all the used shops, because that's where all the good shit ended up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What's up, Dwight Bailey?
Hitman.
Wait.
Yeah. It's like, here's the deal. We're all going over there. We're going to rent a small seed container to ship our ship back. Because we're buying in bulk.
Yep.
The seed container. If we all buy 10 or more guitars, the seed container will pay for itself.
Sure.
That's guitar player logic.
License specials and 1000s all have the same thread pitch for the screw-on bar. Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure. So
if you're
I thought so. I thought that they should all be metric, should they not?
I don't know what the thread pitch is, but if you're talking about that end, yeah. You just gotta... Some of them, like I usually just, like my 1000, you'll get 1000s that are like, they make a shit ton of noise. If you're like me and you like the bar floppy.
There you go. 84 ESP Eclipse.
Back then, the Eclipse was a telebody style.
Nice. And no, Richard, because ESP's a Japanese company.
Yes, there is a U.S. custom shop. Yeah, they kind of restructured a few years ago, like when they started the E2 line.
Okay.
So for the U.S., you've got LTD,
right.
E2, and E2 is basically the old ESP Standard Series guitars.
Okay.
And then you have the ESP USA Custom Shop. And then for Japan and the rest of the world, you've got Grassroots, Edwards, Navigator, and then the ESP Custom Shop. That's why, like, those George Lynch Kamikazes and shit are $7,000.
Right.
Because they're all hand done in the ESP Japan shop.
Tom's yelling. So similar, like the LA custom, and then Tom showing his Canadianism. Sorry for the little caps. But yeah, it's similar like the LA custom shop, which would just be a handful of people in a small space, really.
The ESP USA series are all custom shop, Tom. They changed that, like, that started 3 or 4 years ago.
There we go.
Right around
the
whole
Hall,
COVID
y'all,
thing.
is here.
What's up, dude?
Our music in law.
Yeah, that started 5 or 6 years ago, the North Hollywood, the North Hollywood, all the USA series are custom shop. They do like the wacky finishes and all that kind of shit. But yeah, that's considered the USA custom shop. And every bit of it's done. All the bodies, necks, all that stuff are cut and built there, and it's considered the USA custom shop. They do all the wacky finishes and shit in the USA shop.
Sure.
Jimmy and I were looking at Mavericks last night, ESP Mavericks, and I think it was Wild West Guitars has one, a white Maverick, and I'm sitting there looking at the finish. I'm like, what the fuck is up with this? It looks like a popcorn ceiling. And so he looked at it, and we're sitting there zoomed in on the pictures, looking at it. I was like, it literally looks like a popcorn. It's got a finish you can feel. It's like a raised finish. It looks like a popcorn ceiling.
Crazy.
It's like, well, who the fuck would want that?
Right. Crazy. So in all of your love of the super duper Strat style objects, is there on the want list a Tyler?
I can't get past that headstock, bro.
Okay.
But I will say that white smear
Right.
of Dan Huff's turns me on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I get
of course,
that thing.
I'm not spending $7,000-8,000 on a guitar with that headstock. Maybe, I think the JTG line that they're doing in China now, they're $2,500, $3,000 though.
Right, because they still have the good guts in them, but just offshore that.
That may be closer up my alley,
Right.
but it's still got that fucking headstock.
So a Tyler with a neck swap?
Yeah, Tyler with a Charvel neck.
Perfect. Jimmy said, I would take a router that headstock immediately. I could see him doing that.
Right.
I used to hate it, but then the more I looked at it, it's just so 80s in an obnoxious 80s kind of way with the multi logos and stuff. I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't notice it anymore.
Tommy says they're $1,700 to $1,800 on Reverb. I know the one I looked at.
Bandsaw will make it look like a Mackmole real fast. I haven't played a Tyler myself.
Nowhere around here has them, so
The closest for me is Ottawa, which is like 2.5, 3 hours away. And then with the exchange rate, it's ridiculous. Yeah, like your $7,000 US is $10,000 here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, well, I can get a Murphy Lab for that. And I know for me, I'm not getting out over my skis with a Murphy Lab in a way. Like, I know how to play a Les Paul.
Right.
It's like, as much as it's a $10,000 Les Paul, I know I can still play the fuck out of it. I get a Tyler, I can only take so much advantage of that situation.
Right.
For my style, anyways. As much as I'd love to have one in the rack for in case I want to do that Dan Huff thing, but you almost need to have the rack system to go with the Tyler.
Yep. Who asked that? Was that Richard that asked that? My number one, my current number one. It never changes. So it's back here. It's this one.
Well, that's right, Michael Kress. You don't notice the headstock because your brain's blocking out like childhood trauma.
It's this one.
Ooh, yeah.
My 2010 Charvel Wildcard number 3 that I stumbled upon in my mom and pop shop for $650 cash. There, and for reference, there is one on Reverb right now for $2,100, and there's one on the Guitar Center used lot for $2,400. So, but yeah, this is my number one. Period. I've done a couple things to it. It's had a million different pickups in it. Currently, it has a custom shop Seymour Duncan in it that I ordered.
I was wondering what that was. It looks a little different.
It looks like a Screaming Demon, but it's not. It's a
So you're just fooling Quentin.
Right.
He loves Invaders.
So it's a JB with an Alnico 8 magnet, and then I had him do the Screaming Demon small, the black hex screws instead of slugs. And I fried the pot when I was putting it in the other night, so it's got a brand new fresh DiMarzio 500K pot in it. And then I put all the titanium shit in the trim, and I
Mhm.
got these brass fine tuners. These are cool because this dude on Reverb machines these, and you know the regular Floyd brass fine tuners are short.
Right.
Well, these are normal length, so you
Oh.
get about 4 or 5 extra turns out of them.
Nice.
But yeah, this is the number one. I had to put a new nut on it back in like October too, so it's got a fresh Schaller R3 with a 12-inch radius nut instead of the 10. That's how I found out that new Floyd USA stuff sucks.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought the new 3D printed Floyd Rose R3 nut for this thing, and I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just do the old Sharpie trick. I take the string retainer off and just run a Sharpie to get the string up to, under the strings to get the strings off the nut, unbolt it, swap it. That way you got to change strings, detune it, none of that shit. But I put the nut on and I put the 2 screws in and I start getting them kind of tight. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've got a gap between the nut and the fretboard. So I'm sitting there trying to adjust it and butt it back up against the fret, and it will not go. So I take that nut off and flip it over, and put it next to the one I just took off of it, and the fucking mounting holes aren't drilled in the right spot.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
The mounting holes are drilled too far or too close to the fretboard side of the nut, so it's got the nut scooted forward, and there's like a 2 millimeter gap between the nut and the fretboard.
Oh, so you'll never be able to intonate it properly.
Right. So I emailed Floyd Rose and never heard anything back. Like, well, that's great customer service. Thanks. So I ordered this one from Schaller at the Lockmeister R3 nut. And since you can pick your radius, I said, give me a 12 since this is a compound radius neck.
Mm-hmm.
And, funny, it fit perfect.
Almost with German precision.
Correct.
What's up, Justin Cox? Good to see you. Also, if you haven't already, folks, hit the like. If you get more than 30 likes, they promote it on YouTube.
Traction.
I don't know if anybody's had any problems with the new USA made Floyd bridges, but I've seen a shitload of people complaining about the fit and finish of the nuts, and the finish work on that 3D printed nut was dog shit too. So it almost looked like it was real rough and like it was cast or something, like cast zinc or something.
Right.
But since it wouldn't even mount up in the right spot, we'll never know how the durability of that is. So, yeah. So now any kind of Floyd Rose stuff, I'll pay the tariff and get it straight from Schaller. I've got another R3 nut in a 12-inch, and I've got an R3 in a 16-inch radius and some 16-inch radius saddles for my blue build guitar I did, because that neck's a straight 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get that guitar right. I still haven't got that thing exactly where I want it, playing-wise or sound-wise. So once I do this, if it's still not right, I'm just probably going to take the body out back and shoot it.
Relic job.
I'm starting to really lean towards that thing's just got a dead body.
It can happen.
Which sucks, but I mean, I'll keep that nice neck and put it on something else. I was thinking about doing a telly body, a Charvel style telly body, rear routed, hum single, one knob, Floyd, and then put that neck on it.
I have no problem with that.
And I built one on Warmoth site the other night. Did it gloss black with cream binding.
Ooh.
I could probably get into this.
Mm-hmm.
Just do
It'd be a Pro Mod 2 was the telly style?
Yeah, the SoCal Style 2.
SoCal Style 2. I knew it was something Style 2. Style 1's a Strat style, Style 2's... There he is!
Right on.
Tinker Bell.
Look who's back. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother.
That's right, Tommy. It's got to be the body. It ain't me.
See, it's funny. Tink says he's a fan of single humbuckers, but I believe the last video he put out, he's playing a Gretsch. Just saying. Matt has a SoCal too. Yes.
So, Tom, the issue that Eddie had that Tom Anderson fixed was when Eddie put the Floyd on the Frankenstein himself.
Yes.
And when he drilled the holes for the studs, he just drilled them in line with the regular 6-screw trim holes instead of forward. So he never got that thing to intonate. And Tom Anderson plugged them and moved it forward where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's why everybody thinks that the quarter, Eddie would rotate the quarter in and out from under the bridge. And in reality, the bridge moved forward. So it's funny how people just see shit and it's like, oh, so he would rotate the quarter under the bridge when he would drop D and then he would rotate it. No.
I only said because when I saw you in Pete's chat, I clicked on your name to go to your channel to make sure that it's the same Tink that I know and love. That I just happened to. I'm like, wow, I'm here. Let's see what videos. Saw the Gretsch video. So Richard Nagamitsu has a bunch of USA Music Man parts. Parts for US Music Man. Nice. Rating makes sense on a lot of stuff, Tom. He's like, I don't know, smart and stuff. I don't know. Smarter than me. That's a low bar too. So congrats. The PRS Herman Lee bridge. I don't know what that is.
PRS Herman Lee bridge? Is it a Godo? Boy, Randy's wicked smart. Well, I got a number. How you like them apples? Is it the bridge that's in the Herman Lee PRS just the Godo?
I'm not sure.
The Godo 7-string, or I guess it's a 6-string. It's the Godo Floyd, the 1996 T.
What's up, Earl?
Cheers, Earl. Just drinking water today. And sipping some whiskey.
See, now I have to look. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm pretty sure it's the Godo.
He says it's a weird adjustable trim. All right. And then Jimmy said it's a Godo 1996 T. I don't know what that means.
That's the Godo Floyd.
Yeah, that's the one I put on my Ibanez.
Gotcha. You think it'd call it 1986 instead of 1996?
Well, like the Godo that was on the Music Man's was the 1988.
Oh.
The 1988 T. Yeah, that looks like the Godo.
I almost read it as Gado. So, if you put an extra D in there, it would have been, like, ooh, Gado released a bridge? I don't remember that. Like, the bridge from what?
Well, that's what Rob Johnson says, Gado. Got the Gado Floyd, Gado tuners. I'm like, Rob, it's Godo, brother. I love you, but it's Godo.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this weird adjustment thing you're talking about?
I told him that in person.
I'm just wondering if the neck snaps off of them if you need them.
I think it's very cliche that the first time I met Rob Johnson in person was in the FU Tone booth. Go figure.
Oh, okay. It's got a stabilizer in the back. A PRS stabilizer, which is probably some kind of
knockoff of somebody else's stabilizer.
Exactly.
Just a trim setter.
Basically. If I can find a picture of it, we'll see who they ripped off.
Trim stabilizer. Like a shock absorber thing.
Oh, it's the
Tom says it's basically a knockoff of a trim setter.
Holy shit, that thing's got a 20-inch radius. What radius?
Need no stinking radius, right?
Oh, okay. So it's a knockoff of the shit. Not the key. It's the other one that FU Tone sells.
Yeah.
Which is a knockoff of Floyd calls it the Trim Indus stabilizer.
I want to have 3 miniature Monroe shocks branded.
Yeah, so FU Tone calls it the black box. It's a knockoff of that.
What's up, Miggy?
And see, that's dumb because I bet a Floyd Rose 1000 probably costs more than a Godo 1996T. Actually, they're probably right around the same price. But the SEs are made in Korea, so that does make sense for the 1000 because the 1000s are made in Korea.
Mm.
You ain't got to go hop to that island right across the sea.
Right. This is true. People saying hey to each other in the chat. Go a little while longer here, folks. This is a bunch of fun. We've got a great crowd here. Get those questions in. Again, any donations to the virtual tip jar, go to the Flying V Fund.
Yeah, it needs to be funded.
It does, because it's fun to play. And I'm enjoying it. Writing riffs.
You gonna put a Floyd Rose on that?
No. I have one Floyd Rose guitar. I'm good.
Oh, that's not enough.
It's a good one, but it's one. I'm good. I really don't know how to use it. It's like I was one of those guys that when I got my Strat, I took the bar out and just played the Strat without the bar. I don't know.
There's only 2
One of those
guitars.
things I need to take a lesson or two on is how to embrace my Floyd Rose to do Floyd Rose type Floyd Rose theory.
There's only 2 guitars in this room that don't have Floyd Roses, and neither one of them are mine. The V on the wall, and then the tall case right here, because there's a couple cases here, there's a couple cases back there, some back there. The tall case right there is a ESP LTD, the EX black metal that was a factory screw up. The EX black metals were supposed to have a reverse headstock. And apparently the first 24 off the line, they screwed up and put non-reverse headstocks on. So my buddy bought that. He's like, that's supposed to have a reverse headstock. Yeah, well, it don't. And then, did a little research. And, they made 24 without a reverse headstock before it was corrected. So you got 1 out of 24. It's pretty rare.
Sweet.
Oh, special.
On. Which reminds me, I got to get my Kramer on the bench restrung and stuff. Plus, it needs that neck adjustment. I was trying to wait till it warms up and moistens up a bit and humidifies, so I see if I can avoid that neck adjustment at the heel of the neck. Idiots.
Oh, you mean like that?
Yeah.
There's no adjustment there.
No, and the funny part is, like, I've owned the guitar since 2018, and I just noticed in the last few months that that's where the adjustment is because I've never had to adjust it. And I was so disappointed. I literally looked at the headstock 3 times, like hoping that magically the adjustment would appear.
Right. Well, this one's got the plug.
Like focus, Chris.
That one's got the plug right there. But
that's just a tease then. That's
for no reason. It's just a T. I mean, it's a 1-piece neck, so you've got the skunk stripe, but yeah, every Charvel that I have from this era, that 08 to 10 USA and the Japanese ones, they're all, you got to take the damn neck off. I've got one Mexican with the wagon wheel.
That
adjuster.
I don't mind. I quite enjoy that. I don't mind that at all. But yeah,
the Jacksons. No, I take that back. My USA Jackson's got the wagon wheel. My Gary Moore, Adrian Smith. That's got the truss rod wheel. The other one's at the headstock. And then all the ESPs are at the headstock. I think. Yep, that one's at the headstock.
Seems like all guitars made nowadays should have 2-way truss rods. It's just fact.
Yeah.
What's for the slight extra cost in manufacture, just do it. I think you're thinking of Rob Chapman. He hasn't been involved with Andertons in years. Although Andertons is involved with Chapman, Chapman's not involved with Andertons. If that makes sense.
Isn't Lee part of that company?
Yeah, Lee owns a percentage of Chapman Guitars. like a minority stake, right? Because he helped probably initially finance the company get up and going, and then
Well, isn't Rob involved with another guitar company too? Like a higher end, like weird shaped.
I'm not aware. The Courtney Cox?
The Iron
He's
Maiden.
now a friend of yours?
Burning Witches Courtney Cox or David Arquette ex-wife Courtney Cox. Either one would be fine with me.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm just looking for clarity.
Redheads are fun. She can play better than I can, though, so I don't really know how that's going to work.
So my gray hair is due to redheads. What is the telly-shaped object in the back of you with a slanted back headstock?
Telly-shaped object. I don't have a telly-shaped object back here. You talking about that?
Probably.
It's the tilted headstock for sure.
That one right there. Because that is a Jackson Pro Origins.
Settles that. Cute. Apparently, Bo didn't go to Cougar Town, I was going to say, but then again, he went to a different Cougar Town on Friday night trip due to the soon-to-be ex-wife.
If you're talking about this telly-shaped object that is not a telly-shaped object, it's a Jackson. That's one of the new Pro Origins, and it's vanilla shake, and it's a top mount Floyd and one humbucker, and I had to have it. So,
Do you have a preference between top mount Floyd or eroded?
I love top mount. I prefer top mount. It's just I don't know. Most of my top mounts, some of them are blocked, some of them are floating. It's just, I like the way everything sits on a top mount. I feel like the recessed ones kind of sit too low. So, I mean, I'll depends on the guitar. Like the two LTDs here, they're both recessed, but I usually will shim the neck where it gets the bridge up a little bit out of the cavity.
Right.
I like the bottom of the base plate to be flush with the cavity. I don't like when they sit down in the cavity.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, Justin Cox asked, did Ben have a signature telly? I did have a telly style object or shaped object as a signature guitar. Unfortunately, that company is no longer in business, but they're made out in Victoria, BC.
nice.
Here, I'll snag it.
Oh, we're doing guitar show and tell. This is going to go on forever.
Boosh. P90s. Maple neck, maple fretboard. So there you go.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Just a little dirty, I because I liked how that Eddie guy, the raw maple board.
Yeah, most of those are maple.
Spankier.
And this is my newest acquisition. If you like George Lynch, this is one of the limited Sam Ash LTD Tiger 600 Tigers. So it's got the kamikaze body instead of the regular strap body. And it's a maple body. So this thing's about right at 9 pounds. They quit making the 600s because they're pretty much identical to the ESP ones for a quarter of the price.
I kind of like that because I need a animal striped guitar in my life. And it doesn't look the same on a Gretsch or a Les Paul. You got to kind of get like that.
So I think they did 100.
Yeah, old maple, Dom.
Yep. I think they did 100 of these for Sam Ash, and it was to support a clinic tour he was doing around like 2004.
Okay.
So they did 100 of these, and he would play them at the clinics. And if he played them, the back of the headstock would be signed. This one is not, so he never played this one yet. So, but it's got the big wide 1 3/4 inch nut with the R3 on it. So you've got plenty of real estate on the
I was going to say
ends.
you got all the room on the other side of the street. So you can
Well,
probably put an R5 nut on it, is what you're saying.
Right. That was that whole thing he got from Kramer. He liked that big wide Kramer neck with the R5, but he used the R3 nut because he liked the string spacing better. And I have to agree, I like the R3 on that width.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing is the Lynch U profile, so it's about the same thickness as a Charvel neck, but it's got shoulders, and then it just kind of gets flat on the back, and then you get your curves.
Right.
But I've got this one, and I've got the Burnt Tiger that they did in like 2016. And that one, I got him to sign back in January when they played 10 minutes from the house. So that one stays in the case now.
Makes sense.
I think I played it on one show after I got it signed. So next time it comes through, I'll get this one signed, and yeah.
Mazel.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But yeah, these were cool. These came with a German Floyd.
Really? Nice.
Instead of a 1000. So it's got the OG German shit, and then Screaming Demon, which this is not. It's a Screaming Demon, but it's not a Screaming Demon. I had my guy.
OEM equivalent of a Screaming Demon?
Well, it was a Screaming Demon when I got the guitar. I got my guy Willie to rewind it. So it's got the wind he does for me, which is about 16.7K. And then since this is a trimbucker, Duncan's trimbucker bobbins are wider. So it came out to like, I measured it. I think it's 17.2K.
So all the wines.
All the wines. 43 gauge wire instead of 44. So the bobbins are nice and full with wire.
Yeah.
But this thing sounds fucking killer. So that was a good reverb score on this one. These don't pop up that often. But apparently the guy I got this from has like 4 of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And decided he only needs 2, so he was selling 2 of them. And that was the better of the 2.
Bo says, good luck he does the show and takes off. There's ways.
You got to know people, bro.
It's like, Bo, you know people. You can make arrangements, Bo. It's not that hard. Especially if he's playing the machine shop.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has Sova met him in the parking lot at the machine shop before the show?
Exactly.
I tell you how I got mine signed is his bass player, Jaron Galino. I chit-chat with him on Instagram here and there, and I just made mention. I tagged him in one of my clips I put up of me playing the Burnt Tiger. And I was like, hey, man, you think if I bring this to the show, get George to sign it? And he just messaged me back. He's like, yeah, I can make that happen. He's like, bring it to the show. If they give you any heat about it at the door, tell them I'm the one that said it was cool. And he's like, I can't guarantee you can. I'll get you to meet George. He goes, but I can guarantee you it'll be signed. So apparently with that Tiger Club thing, they're doing it at their hotels. So George didn't even get to the venue until like 20 minutes before he was supposed to go on. So he got there. Jaron was playing bass on the XYZ set and all that stuff too. So it was pretty funny. He come and met me before the show, got the guitar, and then the first band plays, and then XYZ plays, and then like 10 minutes after XYZ's done, and they're doing quick set changeovers, right? He comes out of the back just drenched in fucking sweat in his stage gear and hands me a guitar case. He's like, got it, man. It's on the back of the headstock. I was like, appreciate you. So.
Bo says, I told him I'm in the audience, but no, just takes off. They did try to sell me his pedals, though. My favorite seeing him play lately, he's always got, half time he's got that snark sitting on the headstock. I'm like, dude, take it off during the set, please.
Well, he's got the Polytune clip-on on there sometimes.
Yeah.
He did not have a tuner on the fucking headstock when he played here. I was shocked.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, seriously. Or get a tuner pedal. Some of them take batteries. See, I even said it there for you, Trev. Battery.
Battery. But yeah, what shocked me was when he was playing. So he used that Relic Strat that ESP makes for him, the GL56 or whatever, which is a lie because it should be the GL54. You know, because he did like everybody did back then and subtracted 2 years from his age. But he played it for the first half of his set, and then for breaking the chains, he brought out one of the OG Tiger Relic that he built, the Mr. Scary one. And after hearing like 7 tunes through that GL56, he comes out with the Tiger on. I'm like, he's going to play Breaking the Chains with that. He usually does. And then he hits like one big E chord, and that fucking guitar was like 10 times louder. And just fuller, and it's like somebody just stand there and just punched you right in the gut. I'm like, holy shit, that guitar sounds good. And he only used it on Breaking the Chains, and then he switched to the Desert Eagle, you know, the newest Kamikaze, and played the rest of it with that. What was cool was them playing that Judas Priest cover. They did Grinder.
Oh, nice.
And then they did They did that. They did another tune with Brian Tishy on lead vocals. Before that, I don't remember what it was now. But they jammed a couple covers out, and they played a longer set that night, just up there screwing around at the end. I think it was Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. They did Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo with Brian Tishy on lead vocals, while pounding the absolute shit out of his drum set. That dude hits hard. So the venue we were at, me and my buddy Anthony, we were in the balcony, like the little top balcony, where it's a shitty bar, you know. So all the pool tables are up there and the dartboards and all that, and we're leaning over the balcony. Well, this club has like a 12-foot tall drum riser. Mm-hmm. Still, they had the same 12-foot tall drum riser when I used to play there 15 years ago. So you're at like eye level with Brian Tishy. So all you're getting is his snare and his ride cymbal at his full power hits. It's like, Jesus Christ. It was a great show, though.
What's up, Coots? What's up, user Brian? Richard was asking what venue that was.
That was Atmosphere Atlanta, which is nowhere near Atlanta. It's about 30 miles east of Atlanta, in the same town that I work in.
See you, Glenn. We're probably going to actually wrap things up here as well. We went better part of 2 hours already. Wow.
It's because I'm such a fun time.
You are.
It's true.
You know, we'll definitely have to do a part 3 because, you know, it's just easy to talk gear and tone with people that know what they're talking about. No offense to previous guests. There's been a couple over the years. They didn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, wasn't really interested in talking about hot dogs tonight.
Yeah. We'll be talking about them in a couple of weeks. Easter weekend. That'll be the next Hot Dogs and Hash episode, folks.
Have you tried the new Dr. Pepper and Blackberry?
No.
I got a hold of the zero sugar one. It's not bad. Did you ever try the berries and cream Dr. Pepper?
Strawberries and cream, I did, yes.
It's kind of like that, but without the weird cream flavor.
That was interesting because I'm not a Dr. Pepper person, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. And it was interesting, that one. It all depends on what there's a grocery outlet store that imports the stuff from the U.S. See if they bring, because it normally isn't carried in the stores, a lot of that stuff. But there's one place, well, I also go there for my Tahitian treat because about once a month a fella needs a fucking Tahitian treat.
They don't make those in zero sugar, so I can't.
No, they don't. Anymore. They make them with all the sugar. That's why it's once a month.
Yeah, they make those with the 100 grams per 12 ounces.
Yeah,
they're good though.
All the diabetes in one can. Perfect. No, not perfect.
Yeah, Richard. So they pretty much make every one of their flavors like that in a zero sugar version. It's just finding somewhere that carries it.
Right.
Amazon's your friend if you want to buy Coke or Pepsi products off Amazon.
That's the truth. Well, there we are. On that wonderful, sugary good note, I'll be back tomorrow night with Canucks with guitars, playing acoustic tomorrow night because Richard Nagamitsu told me to.
What's an acoustic? Do those have Floyd Roses?
A few of them. I've seen them.
With the what's the one they put on the Les Pauls, the FRX or whatever?
Right. Yeah, surface mount.
Yeah, surface mount on your acoustic.
Yeah, perfect.
Your deep bowl
Ovation. It's harder to mount
beer.
springs inside. There's, what are you gonna do? Just go onto one of the braces inside, I guess. I don't know. But there we go. So yeah, we'll be playing around with that. That's gonna be a bunch of fun. And then I don't know what's coming out for videos this week because I haven't looked in a while and I'm not sober. So let's go with that. So be good to each other. Guys, hold the line here. We'll talk off air. Good to hold those doors open. I don't know, Zach Thong in it. Why is Zach driving? Zach shouldn't be driving. So let him in. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Just let him go. Be good to each other. Happy tone chasing. And, of course, I got to talk because I haven't set things up. And there we go. And if karma's real, yep. Why? Because you don't ever want to litter. That's why.